Here's a shocking reality that millions of American workers face every single day. Your employer might be setting a financial trap that could cost you thousands of dollars just for switching jobs. Employment debt traps. The hidden crisis destroying worker freedom, shielding employees from corporate-imposed financial bondage. Every single year, countless millions of Americans make the decision to change their employment. However, what should be a straightforward career transition has become a nightmare for many workers who discover an unexpected financial penalty waiting for them. The culprit? An increasingly popular employer tactic known as stay or pay agreements that essentially hold workers hostage through the threat of crushing debt. But here's where it gets controversial. These contracts aren't just affecting a small number of industries anymore. They're spreading like wildfire across the entire American economy. The most prevalent form of these worker trapping mechanisms is something called a Training Repayment Agreement Provision, commonly referred to by its ominous acronym, TRAP. And that name couldn't be more fitting. Traps, along with other variations of stay or pay agreements, are typically imposed on employees as a mandatory condition for getting hired. This gives corporations a powerful weapon, the looming threat of debt collectors and expensive lawsuits, to essentially chain workers to their positions, severely restricting their ability to seek better opportunities and completely undermining their negotiating power with employers. And this is the part most people miss. When workers do find the courage to leave despite these threats, they often face financial penalties so severe they can destroy their economic stability for years. Our mission in action. Without immediate intervention, these stay or pay agreements could create a modern form of economic servitude, where workers remain trapped in substandard jobs simply because they cannot afford the financial consequences of leaving. The potential for workers to be crushed under mountains of debt merely for pursuing better career opportunities or dealing with personal emergencies is absolutely unacceptable. This is precisely why Protect Borrowers has launched a comprehensive campaign involving advocacy efforts, policy development, and strategic litigation across federal, state, and local jurisdictions to shield workers from these predatory employment practices. Continue reading to discover the full scope of our initiatives. Our research findings. Our comprehensive investigation reveals a disturbing trend: the explosive growth and systematic implementation of training repayment agreement provisions by major corporations that often dominate significant portions of their respective markets, creating ripple effects that impact millions of workers on a daily basis. These companies span diverse sectors, including transportation and logistics firms, healthcare systems, retail giants, and even financial institutions. Our analysis suggests the prominent employers utilize traps across segments of the American workforce that collectively represent more than 1/3 of all private sector employment. This extensive research series exposes how, instead of ushering in an era of genuine corporate investment in employee development, the nation's largest employers have systematically adopted exploitative stay or pay contract structures. These agreements are imposed on workers as non-negotiable employment conditions, enabling corporations to weaponize the fear of debt collection proceedings and costly legal battles to effectively imprison workers in their current positions, drastically limiting employee mobility and completely eliminating their ability to negotiate for better terms. Our court battles. Legal action against SmoothStack regarding their implementation of traps. O'Brien versus SmoothStack. Legal proceedings against PetSmart concerning their use of traps. Scally versus PetSmart. Legal challenge against Ameriflight over their deployment of traps. Fredericks versus Ameriflight. Discover our additional initiatives. Workplace financial exploitation, labor abuse. Annually, tens of millions of Americans make employment transitions. Unfortunately, An alarming number of these workers encounter an unwelcome surprise, an unexpected financial obligation. This occurs because an increasing number of employers are implementing stay-or-pay contract provisions to ensnare workers, mandating financial penalties for anyone who chooses to leave their position. If these practices continue unchecked, stay-or-pay agreements possess the destructive potential to bury workers under insurmountable debt simply for pursuing superior employment opportunities, or for needing to resign due to personal circumstances. Training Repayment Agreement Provisions, TRAPs, explained. The predominant form of stay-or-pay contract is the Training Repayment Agreement Provision, widely known by its acronym TRAP. Employers deploy these anti-worker contractual clauses to confine employees within poorly compensated positions that offer substandard working environments. Our organization collaborates with legislative bodies and regulatory agencies at municipal, county, and state levels to eliminate worker debt traps and fulfill our commitment to permanently prohibit traps. Non-compete agreements. Throughout various sectors of the economy, employers exploit fine print clauses in employment contracts to restrict workers' professional freedom. We're actively working to transform this landscape. State local initiatives. We provide support for state and local efforts aimed at establishing a secure and properly regulated economic system that benefits all citizens nationwide. This includes assisting legislative bodies in crafting new legislation, offering technical guidance as agencies implement and enforce these laws, and providing training to local offices so they can deliver essential services to their communities. But here's what I want to know. Do you think it's fair for companies to charge workers thousands of dollars just for leaving a job? Have you or someone you know ever been trapped by one of these agreements? And here's the really controversial question. Are we looking at a new form of corporate control that undermines the very foundation of free market employment? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, because this issue affects far more workers than most people realize.